The champion carnival begins with cameras, reporters, and a question Ippo is not ready to answer. How far does he plan to go? How many times will he defend the belt? Who does he want next? But Ippo does not speak like a king. He says he will take it one match at a time. To the crowd, it sounds humble. To the boxing world, it sounds dangerous. Because a champion without a destination can be swallowed by men who do have one. That night, snow falls quietly, and Miyata appears like a memory Ippo never buried. The conversation is calm on the surface, but every word cuts deeper. Ippo learns that a challenge connected to Miyata had been hidden from him, and the promise he carried for so long was not standing still. The coach's verdict is merciless. Miyata did not close the distance between them. He reversed it. The gap is bigger now, and Ippo is the one left behind. Ippo tries to solve the problem the only way he knows how, training until his body screams. He makes the Dempsey roll faster, but the coach sees the cost immediately. Speed without weight becomes empty. Power without control becomes predictable. The Dempsey roll is not magic. It has a rhythm. Left, right, left, right. And if an opponent learns that rhythm, the same motion that creates Ippo's attack can guide a counter straight into his skull. Then the next challenger emerges from Okinawa, Shimabukuro Iwao. He is not tall, he is not elegant, but he is compact, dense, and terrifyingly strong. In old footage, he destroys opponents in seconds with explosive infighting and corkscrew force. Outside the ring, he dives into the sea like it is his real home. Reporters call him a warrior. His people see him as a man of the ocean. And to Ippo, he becomes a new kind of question. What happens when he faces someone who owns the same battlefield, only lower, heavier, and harder? The coach's answer is not to turn Ippo into a balanced fighter. It is the opposite. He wants Ippo purified into a true infighter, stripped of hesitation and sharpened into one purpose. Ippo trains through swollen toes, unstable balance drills, one-legged punishment, and exhaustion so deep his body barely obeys. Even his life by the sea becomes part of the plan. Balance on boats, weight shifting, lower body pressure, every small piece is dragged into the ring. Shimabukuro's strange words begin to haunt Ippo. Move freely under the sea. Take him to the bottom. At first, nobody understands whether it is a metaphor, a threat, or madness. But then Ippo's body breaks down, and rest becomes mandatory. In the pool, surrounded by Kumi's watchful care and Nanako's bright energy, Ippo begins rebuilding through water. His blood moves again. His lungs awaken. The same element that defines Shimabukuro becomes the place where Ippo quietly searches for survival. In mitt training, Ippo accidentally produces a punch that sounds different from anything before. Not louder to everyone, but unmistakable to him and the coach. It is almost an ultimate punch, born from perfect motion, timing, and follow-through. But perfection cannot be summoned at will. Then the weigh-in arrives, and Shimabukuro reveals a body that silences the room. His muscles look layered, armored, impossible. Ippo is conditioned too, but the contrast is brutal. The fight is no longer just champion versus challenger. It is the battle to decide Japan's greatest infighter. The bell rings, and Shimabukuro does something that unsettles everyone. He sinks low, so low that Ippo feels like he is being looked up at by the challenger. The target disappears. The angles feel wrong. Ippo's left hand controls the opening, but Shimabukuro does not break. He keeps coming, and then he shows the raw strength hidden inside that crouch. A crossed arm lifts Ippo off balance. Footwork traps him. A sudden low strike crashes through the rhythm. The champion is being dragged into unfamiliar water. Shimabukuro's gazelle punch breaks through Ippo's guard like a battering ram. Ippo cannot survive by blocking forever, so he chooses the only path left for an infighter: step closer. The match becomes a zero-distance collision. No clean space, no elegant boxing, just shoulders, heads, hips, breath, and short punches born from weight shifts. Each man tries to make the other retreat first. Shimabukuro feels like a rock. Ippo feels like a man punching into the side of a cliff. By the middle rounds, the meaning of the sea becomes terrifyingly clear. Shimabukuro's body shots are not random punishment. They are a drowning strategy. Ippo's face darkens. His legs become slow. His arms feel too heavy to lift. Every exchange steals oxygen, and Shimabukuro watches him like a fisherman waiting for the line to stop fighting. Ippo is still standing, but inside, he is sinking. At the bottom of that exhaustion, one thought remains. If he has any chance left, it has to be the Dempsey roll. Ippo launches the Dempsey roll with everything left in his body. The figure-8 motion returns, violent and familiar, and for a moment it looks like the champion's old miracle is alive again. But Shimabukuro has waited for this. He reads the rhythm, he times the motion, he strikes into the roll itself. The Dempsey roll, once feared as unstoppable, is reduced to a pattern with a hole in it. Ippo is thrown backward, frozen in exhaustion, while the arena realizes the unthinkable. His greatest weapon can be defeated. Ippo's body is nearly empty, but something changes in his face. He smiles, not because he is safe, and not because he has a secret trick. He smiles because the belt no longer matters in that moment. He is just a boxer again, standing in front of a man he must overcome. He blocks, breathes, throws smaller punches, and trusts the painful training he survived. The crowd chants his name until the arena itself feels like a second corner. Ippo fights like a challenger, and that humility becomes his last reserve of strength. In the final surge, Ippo finds a crack. Not a wide opening, not a clean miracle, just one tiny place where motion, timing, relaxation, and survival line up. His punch slips through and reaches Shimabukuro's core. The Ryukyu warrior falls, rises, and fights his own body to continue. But Ippo has crossed the finish line first. The victory is his fourth defense, yet it does not feel like simple triumph. Shimabukuro leaves with respect, returning to the sea. Ippo keeps the belt, but he also carries the knowledge that the Dempsey roll will never be feared the same way again. After the fight, Ippo is not a symbol. He is a wounded young man surrounded by people who care in different ways. Kumi protects his rest. Nanako's affection becomes complicated. Mari observes with a journalist's eye that slowly turns personal. Meanwhile, Ippo reflects on the truth of the match. Shimabukuro did not merely challenge him. He exposed the Dempsey roll's rhythm and proved that support, recovery, and humility matter as much as any punch. When Ippo returns to the gym, he is not fully healed, but he is mentally stronger. The spotlight shifts to Aoki Masaru. To some, he is comic relief. A strange boxer with stranger punches, ridiculous posters, and a reputation that never fully commands respect. But beneath the jokes is a man who knows this may be his last real chance. He studies Imai obsessively. He gets mocked for wild ideas like combining techniques into something absurd. He goes home wounded in pride, and Tomiko becomes the one person who sees the fear underneath. Aoki is not just trying to win a belt. He is trying to prove his entire career was not a punchline. Fight day turns every small moment into pressure. Tickets vanish. The crowd swells. Supporting fighters struggle, win, and stumble under the same lights Aoki is about to face. Bathroom confrontations, awkward locker room incidents, warnings about stamina, and old emotional wounds all crowd around him. But Aoki walks forward anyway, wearing the frog emblem like a joke he has decided to weaponize. When the Champion Carnival announcement echoes through Korakuen Hall, he understands the truth. The lights are brighter, because this is the stage he has waited 6 years to reach. The fight begins cautiously, then turns ugly. Imei's fundamentals look solid. His timing punishes openings. Aoki is dropped, hurt, cornered, and battered, until even the referee wonders if the match should continue. The crowd begins changing sides, cheering less like believers and more like witnesses to a slow collapse. But Aoki keeps surviving without taking the clean final shot. He looks weak. He looks desperate. He looks finished. And that is exactly what makes the next revelation so dangerous. Then, Imei understands, and the realization hits harder than any punch. The knockdowns, the ugly exchanges, the moments where Aoki looked like a man barely surviving. They were not all failures. They were bait. Aoki had been making Imei spend stamina, round after round, by tempting him to finish a fight that would not end. Now the champion's legs feel trapped, as if the ring floor has turned to mud. Aoki changes his footwork, sharpens the jab, and begins closing the exits. The clown has become a strategist. The joke has become a trap.